Hello everybody, it has been a while since my last tutorial. Today we're working with liquid gradient backgrounds. So let's start by creating a new composition. I will call it main tutorial, but you can call it however you want. This will be our main composition where everything happens. And now let's create a shape layer. A square and a star work as well, but for my example I will use a pentagon. And I will place it in the center of the composition by selecting it and pressing Ctrl Home. Now that I did this, what I have to do is adding a fast box blur effect, and I will set it to 90. It will basically look like a circle if you don't have transparency enabled. Then we will add a wave warp distortion and change the type. Actually, if you want to experiment with different types, then do it. What I did is selecting the semicircle type and then changing the height and width of the waves and also the angle of the waves. And as you can see, it's starting to look cool already. It could be a decent background by itself, but I think it's better to change it a little. So first of all, I will add a 4-color gradient and make sure the points are closer to the center. I could change the colors like I did in my example, but it's a matter of preference, so I will use the default colors just so you know how to make the effect, and you can change them later if you want. Like this can be red, it could be blue, it could be yellow, it could be whatever you want. You don't even need to use the 4-color gradient if you want a different color. Now that we have the base layer, we can pre-compose it and we will call it base shape. Also, make sure you move all attributes into the new composition, and this checkbox here is not mandatory, but I usually check it. It's not really important in this case. Before we move on, we should open the base shape composition and change the resolution so that it's a square. It doesn't have to be a square, but the important thing is that we have a lot of room for extra effects that we may or may not add later. And just like that, the first part is done. Now what we have to do is give this shape its own shape. So we will use a warp effect, and as you can see, it's already very similar to my example. This can be distorted in whatever way you want. I will use 100% for everything in this case. Now, one important step for low-end computers or for people that are having problems with performance is to pre-compose this layer as well, because the warp effect can be quite heavy on rendering. So we will use a new composition, we will call it warped base 1. I say 1 because if you want to duplicate it, then you can do it later, and this will keep things organized. You don't really have to number them. And it's almost completed. Now what I will add is some glow. I could use the normal glow built into After Effects, but I'd rather use deep glow because it looks much better in my opinion. And as you can see, it already looks good. It's not the same. Now I know what you're thinking, this shape is completely different from mine. I'm just showing you an alternative. To get the exact shape I got, you have to scale this down a little, move the anchor point to the top of the composition, to the top of the layer, and then change the vertical distortion to 0. This is the exact look. Then after you've done that, you can change the position and scale it up again. And now it looks exactly the same, more or less. And again, it looks different because of the color as well. Now, let's focus on more details. What I did was adding an adjustment layer and adding noise. Maybe just 15%. Yeah, that's good. Then I added a lumetri color and changed the vignette value. Now the reason I'm adding a vignette like this and not with CC vignette is that the lumetri color effects is lighter, so it's easier to render. But you don't really have to do it the same way. If it's moving too fast, you can always go into the shape layer, into the base shape composition, and change the wave speed. To add a bit more bloom, I also added another deep glow effect and changed the radius to be much smaller, like 20. I don't know, you have to experiment with this honestly. It's not always the same, it depends on the color you have on the screen. Depending on the color you're choosing, you will need different settings. You don't really have to copy mine, I'm just experimenting right now to see what looks better. And in my opinion, this looks cool, but a bit not saturated. So what I will do is change the base color in the base shape layer. I will add something more. Actually, we'll add a hue saturation effect and change the master saturation. And just like that, we have an amazing looking background. Now, the bloom is a bit too strong in my opinion, so I will change the deep glow a little to make sure it's not too strong. And just like that, we are done in a few minutes. But if you want the exact same background I made for the intro, you can join my Discord server and I will leave the project file completely for free there. Thank you for watching.